bowels of metal music really is? About the weight of your mobile phone. Download our free andrewhaug.com iPhone and Android apps now. That way, you'll never be far away from us. This is Heavy at Home, our weekly Australian show. We love putting the spotlight on the latest in Australian music. This is a band I've been supporting from way, way back, and I have to say, and I've said this a few times in fact, that they are certainly one of the longest standing Australian metal bands. Not a band that sort of disappeared for 10 years, took a hiatus and come back and claim a 50-year career. They've been consistent since 1997. Of course, this great man has been in the band at various stages, but it is great that he did return, of course, last year when the band put out a great EP, but now he's still on the vocals for the brand new record, which I'm going to ask exactly what the title means. We do have Adam Glynn, aka Hutch, from Frankenbok, ready to discuss everything to do with what the hell the title means, the ARRIBA War HONKLE being the name of their brand new album. Always laugh when I read out that title, so I'm curious to know, Hutch, what the hell does the title mean? And also, welcome to the program.
Hey, Andrew, thanks for having me. I wish I had a clever answer for you. I've been asked it a few times now, and then I was sort of contemplating it last night. I think it's because of the theme of the album. It's the songs to me are kind of dancey. They've got a bit of rhythm and groove to them. They're kind of it's like a celebration vibe. So I think it's like an aggressive celebration of stupidity. That's kind of what I think the title means to me personally. It was the working title for a song, and then we just decided, you know what, this just works as a title because I thought it was interesting. It's colourful, it's open to interpretation. So we thought, well, why not? You know, let's stop being so serious in metal. Not that we ever were a serious metal band, or depending on in my era.
Yeah.
But take from it what you will.
And what did the rest of the members say to you when you said, you know what, let's just call the album this? I mean, did they even question the title of the song you had at that time before you said, let's call the album this title? Because, again, it's a mind-boggling title.
They were okay with it. It was fine. I think there was a couple of song titles we went back and forward with because some of them had working titles. For example, Fafo, F around and find out. That was originally called Digital Cupids. And then Casualty, I think we were calling Succubus at one stage, or there's a whole bunch of different titles. But I think we'll keep the album a bit obscure and whatnot, but keep the titles as simple as that is. You don't want to be too complicated, man. People aren't that clever anymore. So I don't know.
Now, I did speak with, main Axeman Azabok last year when, of course, you put out the EP, which saw the return of you back into the fold. And he said it was quite a seamless, fit in for you to sort of step back in and become the sort of singer again of Frankenbok. So how has it been for you to sort of get back out there and playing? I know you've had various projects over the years at various times, but being away from Frankenbok for a long time and then, of course, back with the EP and now the album, I mean, was it just like putting on a pair of old shoes?
Yes and no. I think, I don't know if people know the story, but Azra and I rekindled our friendship a couple of years before coming back to the band, and once doing that, I was privileged to hearing their record Overdose, and I loved it. Like it was almost a new band, especially with Owen on bass and Tommy on drums, and I really loved the music. I even joked with him saying, if you'd written music after Loopholes and Great Excuses EP, I probably wouldn't have left. So firstly, I came back as a friend and then a fan. Like I was really just enjoying what they were doing. I think Dan did an exceptional job with the vocals, and his lyrics are awesome, and I was really, really enjoying it. And then I rekindled my friendship with Azra, and we were sort of hanging out a lot. And then, I just sort of got the call one day that Dan had decided he didn't really have the time to do the Bok anymore. He wanted to do other things with his life, as, people, they move on and want to evolve and grow and do other things that nourishes a different side of their cube. And originally Irrepressible, if people don't know, it was just meant to be me coming back as a guest vocalist, and Dan and I were going to do some dual vocals, and I had some ideas. I worked pretty hard on it because I was pretty excited about it. I thought it'd be a lot of fun, and it just didn't end up that way. And then when Azza rang me saying, I think the wheel's fallen off again, I don't know what to do, I just sort of said to him, I had these ideas for those songs. I'd love to get them back and record them for you, and you can do what you want with them, man, get another singer or whatever. And I never really thought, I know that probably sounds like I'm not telling the truth here, but I never thought they'd be asking me to come back. I never thought I would want to come back. But yeah, just thought, sort of, well, I won't flatter myself and say help them out, but it was just something fun for me to do on the weekend. I love creating, and sometimes it's just better than to stay in and to go out, and that's what ended up happening. And then I got a whole bunch of stuff back to them over that weekend, and then I'm at work and I get a call from Azza, and he's like, "Oh, I think I want you to come back." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, why not?" I really love what the band is now. I love the lineup, all the guys and whatnot, and it was really exciting to rejoin. So it's definitely it's Frankenbok, but it's been through so many changes and lineups and all that I really love what this version of it is now. So
well, I remember when I spoke to Azza last year, and he talked about the fact that he'd sort of hit the wall again, thinking, do I want to continue doing this? And then he did say the same thing that you just said about hearing the newer stuff and you guys, you being sort of a part of it as well. And again, like I said, there's been various phases of Frankenbok as well. I believe the McDougall years was more the serious side of Frankenbok, whereas you've always brought a different, more comedic sort of energy to the group as well. So how do you find, I guess, playing some of the earlier stuff that you weren't a part of with Frankenbok live, and then there's your personality of the songs that you've also written with the group? Do you find it's a different kind of, I guess, emotional journey when you're on the stage singing, the stuff from Overdose, and then you're covering tunes from, the Hutch years?
I'm a very serious metalhead, man, and I take my music very... No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. It's just it's fun. It's like a creative vacation from yourself to sing somebody else's stuff. We haven't really touched on all the eras. We have brought back a couple of the Overdose songs in, which is what I really like. And they're fun to do. It's sort of, rather than trying to replicate what Dan does, I just put my own spin on it. We even re-recorded a couple of the songs just for some fun, just to give people a free download at one stage. But I think, there's some of those songs have been around for, it's 30 years next year the band's been together. And, as much as it'd be great to pull out the so-called fan favourites, as cheesy as that sounds, I think the guys have kind of moved on to something else. With the way the band is now, there's no limits. We've got 3 members that are really open to all different types of music. So there's a lot of, alternative components to the band now. There's a bit of a punk thing, there's funk and stuff. And I think it's almost sort of like this band is anything goes now, which is exactly what I've always wanted to do. Like my old bands like Bacterium and Five Star Prison Cell were very similar to that. So it's great that these guys are open to doing that too. And I think that's really reflective on this new record. So, and that's kind of where we're going to go now. Like there's even talk of going up to Owen's cabin in the woods and, doing a whole bunch of stuff with banjos and stuff, which, there's a whole bucket list of things we want to do now. But yeah, it's really fun being back. It's such a different vibe now. We've all grown up a bit, well, as much as you can grow up being a musician. And it's just a lot of fun, man. I wish I had a more creative answer for you, but it's fun. If it's not fun and enjoyable, then there's no point doing it. And yeah, I'm just really, really enjoying it now. Like I love these guys. They're lovely guys. They're great musicians. I've been in bands too where I've tried out, I won't mention who, but other musicians that I thought were high caliber, and it was interesting to maybe try and get my foot in the door and do something different. And it's just amazing the support you don't get from these so-called bands. You're supposed to be colleagues of sorts, and they really want to try and pigeonhole you into something that they want you to be rather than letting you sort of be yourself. And that can be quite frustrating, whereas with Frankenbok, you pretty much get a lot of creative freedom. Like, don't get me wrong, I speak to the guys and show them my lyrics and I say, well, this is what I'm thinking. And some of the ideas actually start from Azza as well with vocals too. Like he'll give me some stuff to get me going, and then you just kind of build on from that as well. So it's a real collaboration now. Like it's not anyone's band. I mean, it is Azza's, obviously. He's been there from day dot to now, but everyone gets to say, and every idea gets fostered and nurtured, and it's a really great sort of band to be in as far as creativity goes, because we're not really concerned with what the other metal bands are doing anymore. We just want to do our own thing, and if it's heavy, then so be it. If it's a little left of centre, then so be it as well. If it's gentler or more melodic or whatnot, or just noise even, we don't care. It's just any idea, anything goes now, which is so great. I love it.
Now, as you mentioned about what other bands are doing, I mean, there's more bands now than ever before, and looking at, again, the history of Frankenbok, and of course Azza being, the founding member and keeping it alive for, next year, 30 years is just commendable beyond. And just your thoughts on how the music business has changed, of course, because you guys were doing some works with Roadrunner in your earlier years with the group, and seeing how labels have kind of packed in, and now it's kind of, open to any opportunities that bands can create themselves by going directly to fans through social media. I mean, have you tried to sort of navigate through these changes, or it just doesn't faze you about the fact that the music industry is, I'd say in certain factors, somewhat dead the way we knew it to be? What's your thoughts on the whole sort of changes? It's pretty immense.
Yeah, it is. That's a really, really good question. You can go on so many different tangents with that. It depends on your mindset. You can wallow with it and say, well, the dream is over. But as far as I'm concerned, the dream for me has always just been being with a bunch of people that you like, that turn up and want to make the music. In an hour or two, I think my vinyl of the ARRIBA War HONKLE will be turning up. So for me, it's like, it's that feeling I guess you could imagine to like holding your newborn child. It's what that's always been about it. For me, if people like what you do, that's icing on the cake. There's been lots of aspects to it now where I've been so out of touch because I sort of wasn't doing anything really except my own stuff, which, is very underground and not many people hear it. And it's great that you've got all these resources that you can now record at home and, put stuff out on Bandcamp or through DistroKid, and it's just kind of everywhere. And I mean, it's made things in a way so much easier. Then there's the whole debate with the whole AI thing, which people get really upset about that too, and creates a little bit of division with it. I'm kind of on the fence with the AI stuff. Like, I think it's a platform that gives people an opportunity to create, that people, you wouldn't deny someone a wheelchair that can't walk. So why not give technology to people so they can create, like whether it is with art or music or whatnot. I personally don't have a problem with it. But having said that, our album is 4 guys that got into a studio and pretty much did it live with a couple of overdubs to fatten it out and color it up. So yeah, the social media side of it is a little daunting. Like, there's obviously better ways to do it. Obviously there's better programs and apps you can get to make yourself seem more faster and intense and better edit things. But we just try to do it from an honest perspective and give people a little bit of an update. But every day is a school day. You keep learning, you make mistakes. I learned so much coming back to the band, doing Irrepressible and whatnot, and doing it at home. I think at the end of the day, there's certain things and certain elements of this industry that are phasing out, but we do our best to try and keep those things alive, like the physical side of it, going into a studio to record with somebody. I mean, it's great to record at home, but I really believe you get what you pay for. So going in and recording with Luke Walton was amazing. Like, he's been through it all too. And I'm getting a bit sidetracked here, but is a musician, and he's gone to create a studio experience because he's been with certain people, certain producers that just make it a living nightmare to record your art. It's so funny that the person behind the desk makes it so much about themselves as well, whereas he creates a really nurturing, awesome, beautiful experience where you go in and it was just so much fun. It was seriously the best recording I've ever done. It was just so much fun. So yeah, sorry about the tangents there, but
you've always solely been a live band, so there's always that real kind of organic sound every time you guys record records. It's not overly produced, triggered, sample, replace. Like, a lot of bands today just leave you empty. Yeah, it sounds massive, and they've spent so much time making it so massive and glossy that it almost sort of, if anything, strips the soul out of it. And then you see it live and you go, oh, is this it? I think like we talk about technology, it's all great. We've got all these tools, home studios, yay for the win. But at the same time, people can spend way too much time overanalyzing stuff. The spontaneity can be lost, and also the human element can also be heavily reduced as well, because again, it's like, how much EQ do you need? And a lot of bands I've noticed, especially certain artists, can get really compulsive with that kind of approach, that it does sort of suck the life out of that. And also, as you mentioned, going in a studio and recording live as a band is absolutely rare today. I'm hearing bands, just sending files in. They live in the same city, but they, like I said, they do their parts at home. And again, I'm not knocking home recordings either. Some bands do it extremely well, but it really get to see which bands stick together and create as a unit versus Joe Bloggs did his parts at home, and then Joe Bloggs did, the other blog did his parts, 2 months later by himself. And I really notice so much more of that now in music today, that it just does not sound like a collective that have put the songs together. One person's written it and done everything, and anyway, I'm on a tangent about this too, but like I said, just going back to the sound of Frankenbok, every time I get new music from Frankenbok, it just sounds like a real live band that have honed their skills together as a collective in the studio. And I think that's why I always enjoy seeing the band live as well, because you're well rehearsed and there is just that real organic feel that I think you're starting to miss a lot today in artists. So that's just my little observation there on that tangent as well, Adam.
Yeah. Well, to me, heavy metal's like the sci-fi of music. So you got your production snobs out there that, they appreciate like a Fear Factory record or a Meshuggah album because of the production of it. But those bands, to some extent, they replicate it live. There's a lot of bands that can't do that.
Yep.
With this recording, this was the first one I ever did where I actually sang with the band. I was always sort of nervous about doing that, but this one for me was just completely getting out of my comfort zone. I knew what I was trying to do, but I was still writing lyrics to the 11th hour and coming in. I didn't get a case of demo-itis because I wasn't overly thinking about what I was going to do. I sort of heard it in my head, and I had 3 or 4 different ways of doing each bit to kind of, just in case something didn't work. But once I really sort of listened to people and said, okay, well, what do you think? And not that, you can't tell me anything, but it was definitely open to suggestions and whatnot. And also, you hire someone to record because that's their profession. That's what they do. That's the service they bring. And to let someone like Luke sort of take over the vocals, I gave him more than he needed to work with, like lots of layers and I let him trim away the fat and stuff. And what was exciting for me personally was just hearing it for the first time with no expectations and going, okay, cool, I can live with that. That sounds great. I like what he's done with the vocals. It sounds like us. I believe I can replicate that live. And it sounds to me like the truest Frankenbok recording that's ever been done. So and even just rehearsed, playing the songs, working out our set for the tour we're going to do, it feels really natural and right. There's no like, oh God, because I didn't try to oversaturate the songs with lyrics. I kind of went back to that simplicity of the greetings and salutations days, kind of did a little research on what I thought worked for the band and what didn't work. It's always going to be like that silver pinball effect where you try something and then if it doesn't work, you rebound off that and try something completely different. I go to extremes of that with the creativity, but at the end of the day, I can only do what I can do with my voice. They've got me there for that reason. They support what I do, and it's, again, I love what they all do. I'm not about trying to tell this band what to write anymore. It's basically like, well, if you've written a riff, I appreciate that. Obviously, I trust your judgment on what your taste is in music, so what do we need to do to make this come alive? What do you think vocally? What are you wanting? What should I do? And then we try a whole bunch of things. It's really, there's so much communication in the band now. It's so great. But even then, there's just a lot of open jam stuff that, it's just so much fun. Like the word is fun and it's really enjoyable. It's like a boys' night catching up with these guys each week. We get together. Sometimes we don't even rehearse. We'll just sit and listen to different music and talk about stuff, and we might run through the set once, but again, that's on our terms, and it might get to 2-3 weeks where we haven't actually played a song, and then we'll hit it in week 4 and it's like nothing's changed. Like, these guys are very competent. They are very well rehearsed. I know Azza stresses a lot about everything, but with Tommy and Owen as our rhythm section, they're just on it. They're just such accomplished musicians, and I love what they do. I love everything about these guys. It's so funny. Like I kind of pinch myself. Like if someone had told me 10 years ago you'll be back in Frankenbok, I'd be like, oh yeah, right. Mm-hmm. But to end up where I am now, it's insane and cathartic.
Well, all things happen for reasons, as we hear that old cliche. Now let's quickly talk about tour dates, of course. When can folks start to expect to see the band live up and coming for the brand new record, the ARRIBA War HONKLE tour dates? Where can they find all the info?
Where if you go to frankenbok.net and click on the shows page, we've got one show locked in for Canberra on August 1st. That's for Segression's 30th anniversary gig with a whole bunch of bands there. We are planning a bunch of stuff, so bear with us. We sort of wanted to give people a couple of months to digest this new record before we come out. But we're always doing stuff. We're working on new merch. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff ready to go once we do start playing. But there's a really cool band we love from Melbourne called Scarn On, and so we're sort of trying to organise some dates with them and to do a bunch of stuff. But gone are the days we're going to hit everything in like 5 days. People have kids and mortgages and stuff, and it's not to say we're not committed to our craft anymore, but we obviously have to balance things a bit more. And I think also we kind of like playing in the warmer months as well. So towards the end of the year next year, there'll be stuff. We're heading to Adelaide next year. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the works. It's just about being strategic and doing it all smart and just making sure we're hitting people in the right place on the right spot. And
awesome. Well, we can get to choose one of your favourite tunes from.
Just being strategic and doing it all smart and just making sure we're hitting people in the right place on the right spots.
Awesome. Well, we can get you to choose your favourite tunes from latest record. And again, pleasure to talk to you, and all the best with it. And glad that you're back in the fold, and be proud of this record.
Thanks, man. Thanks so much for having me on. It's a hard one to pick a favourite. I like them all for different reasons, but I think I really like Geppetto's Scarecrow. I love the lyrics I came up with. I like that it came from our bass player, the music essentially, and I love the film clip we made for it from Mark Whitworth of X's for Eyes. So it's like it's sort of, to me, it's a bit like Meshuggah crossed with Primus or something. So I like that kind of mesh.
Nice blend. All right, let's hear some Frankenbok here on Heavy at Home. Check them out. Go to frankenbok.net for the up-and-coming shows. And as always, continue to support Australian music. Thank you, Hutch. Let's hear some Frankenbok.